I'm really excited to finally show everybody the air filter kit for the Echo CS620 or 590 Timberwolf saws. This one was a little bit of a challenge. A lot of R&D. I tried a bunch of different ideas, and ultimately what I came up with is fairly simple, but sometimes that's the way it is. The simple things work the best. I'll explain later in the video kind of how I came to this, but to start off with, I will show you guys what it is. Uses an Echo CS400 style air filter, which is the little bit shorter one. So the 450 is the taller one, the 400 is the shorter one. It has this cage that's around it, which I'll explain in a second what it's there for. And that's part of this base. There's a taper fit right here so that as it tightens down, it kind of squeezes down on this little part of the air horn right here. And then here's the other part. So it's a two-stage filter setup. It uses an outerwears pre-filter over top of this. That's what that cage is there for. It helps hold this large outerwears pre-filter away from the main filter itself. Just kind of keeps it located in here also. If you're not familiar with the outerwears pre-filters, outerwears makes a ton of stuff. They also make this filter material for like shocks for off-road use to keep the dirt and heavy dirt and debris off of the shock shaft. It normally goes around the coil, but their main thing is air filter pre-filters. Normally you'd see one like this. It just kind of goes around the filter, but you can see the filter surface area pretty small. The filter surface area on this guy way larger, and that was partially trying to make best use of the space inside the factory box cover and get the most filtration area possible. And then the more filtration area that the outerwears has, the easier it is to clean off also. So why this setup? Why not the 450 style filter that's taller? Why not a CS 680 style filter that's much bigger? There's a couple of still filters that I played with, the Echo 7310 filter. But here was kind of the big issue. One, I can't make a spacer or wedge like I did on the 501 4910 saws. Biggest thing is it interferes pretty massively with the choke lever, and then also it kind of looks funny and it just doesn't seem to work for the effort that went into it. So then I started experimenting. I started cutting up covers and sticking air filters through it, trying to make like a secondary cover that goes over the top of this one, because all of the geometry on this too is also like more complicated, harder to print consistently, nicer. So sticking with the factory cover and then just doing like a smaller outer cover seemed to be a pretty good idea. But again, that just kind of kept getting complicated, inconsistent. I would have had to buy a huge batch of these covers. They're not the easiest to cut. And so I thought the best thing was order 100 of them, drill them all out, add them to the kit. That actually kind of got like pretty expensive. Then I looked at having just whole new covers injection molded. That was also pretty expensive. So then I decided, what can I do to stick under the factory cover? Really the only filter that's easy to get to that height-wise works is the 400 filter. The 450 filter spaces it off just enough, it starts to get a little odd. And so then to add to the surface area to just create a filter setup that was easier to clean and had to be cleaned less often, that's where the outerwears came into play. I experimented with a lot of different ones. Outerwears was really cool to work with. The ones that are coming out are a little bit different. This is a prototype. I found a pre-filter that they already had that worked pretty well with some slight modifications. The ones that are in production right now, they have some reinforcement tape on them here. And then when I get them, I put the nylon washer and crimp that kind of all together, because there's the nut right here that holds the base down, and then the top is kind of squished down with the thumb screw. It kind of all goes together real nice and sucks together, so that nylon washer helps keep this from getting worn out. That was something that was suggested by one of the guys that has been who I sent a prototype to, and it was a really good idea. So for some reason, this is where my camera stopped recording, so I'm going to use this to just kind of segue into a couple of little clips of some of the other ideas I tried. I tried really hard to spin the air underneath the cover, something like the 7310 does, but the 7310 uses a push, an air injection port and an air suction port, and has a different box design. You know, it's designed to do that. So I experimented with a bunch of different ideas, and I'll just show you some clips of a couple of them, and we'll see kind of how it worked. I got the air to spin, but not quite the way I wanted to, and it wasn't consistent. Here's the clear cover. I just drilled some holes in the side of the box so that I could feed the chips in, and you can see it's moving air, especially around the outside. It creates a decent amount of velocity, and that was kind of my goal, is that it would run it around the outside and then out the suction port in the lower left hand corner. And a lot of it does, but then you can kind of see the air stalls out, but it's still spinning around the filter. This is wide open throttle, and yes, there's some holes in that diverter that goes around. They actually helped. Here's another one. You can see some cardboard, some tape I molded inside. You can also see how much velocity the chips at the top are gaining, like as they go around, as they hit the left side of the box. They're moving pretty fast. And so the air on the outside, I got to move really good, but then you can see once it gets inside, what didn't get sucked out the port, which looks like it's plugged, but it's not. There's actually, like, it's just hard to see, but you can see how the air stalls out towards the top of the air filter itself, and you can see some of the chips fall back down. And there's more and more videos and designs that I tried, all with similar results. They worked really good at wide open, but not consistently, and had a bunch of different issues with chips collecting. So hope you guys enjoyed these little clips. So when will they be available? The main thing I'm waiting on is the outerwear's pre-filter. I've actually already ramped up production on the parts I'm printing, and I got a large order of the 400 style filters. These are probably done by the time this video comes out. They're shipping out the beginning of January to me, but I'm gonna be out of town when they get here. So by January 15th at the latest, I will have the ability to ship a bunch of these out. So the beginning of January, once I know that these are on the way, once I have you know, confirmed tracking number, I will throw them up for pre-sale. And then everybody can expect to see them shipped out by the middle of January. So hopefully that works for everybody. They look super simple, but there's less printed volume, but there's actually a lot of post-processing on these, and even once I get these filters here, that's when I have to put the hole in and crimp the washer on. There's actually like a lot of little stuff, so the overall time into these is actually a bit probably more, definitely more than the 4910 501 style kits. So yeah, anyways, look for them on the website beginning of January. And then if you got any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And hopefully I've answered most of the questions anybody would have. If you've got more questions on like some of the R&D, throw something in the comments, and maybe I'll try to make another video that like shows more of the weird stuff that I tried. But hopefully everybody likes this so far. So hope everybody has a good one, and talk to you later.